Good morning. I am going to make this paper daisy today that comes in my paper flower toolkit. It comes with 2 layers of petals, 2 layers of sepals, and 2 center strips, and a wire. And the way that I've always made it in the past is where I shaped the petals to come up and have a more flat center from it. And then it made me think of cone flowers, and so I started making them with the center that is a really rounded mound. And there's an easy way to do it with a tool that comes in my Deluxe Paper Flower Toolkit. It includes this mold, and I had never used it this way before. So I want to show you how I do that. The first thing we want to do is roll up the center, because we need to roll it up, shape it, and glue it before we can add it to the flower. So we need to get that started first. And it comes with 2 strips. On this strip, everything is the same height. And then there's a second strip where it gets much narrower at the very end. And that is for the outside of the center strip. And you don't, if that's too fussy for you and you have the SVG, you could make all of the strips the same. But I like to try to make it look really narrow on the outside edge. I always try to hide the construction of the flowers that I make if I can. So I have it get really skinny at the end. So I will start by gluing these 2 strips together. Let me grab my glue over here. And we just need to put a tiny little bit of glue on the one strip and connect the 2 strips. And when that is going to hold, that will work for me now. And I need a quilling tool. And we insert the strip to the slot of the quilling tool and then just start rolling it up. You don't have to glue it, but it kind of helps to hold it maybe. So I just add a dot of glue there, and then I won't add any more glue until I get to the very end, because we wouldn't be able to shape it the way that we need to if you add glue in the middle. So we roll it up, trying to keep it even on the bottom, but it doesn't have to be perfectly even, because I will be able to flatten it on the table once I get it all rolled up. Get to the very end. And this is where it starts to get really thin. And I'll add some glue here. And just hold it in place until you know it's going to stay. I pop it off of the quilling tool. And then in order to make sure it's flat on the bottom, you just press very firmly across the whole surface. And then you'll have a nice flat bottom on your center. And let me show you the 2 different ways that we can shape this. I guess you could use it like that, but I like to push over all these bits on the end, and so it gets a really nice texture. And what we're going to do in addition to that is make it domed on top by using the plastic mold. So let me first show you how we go from this to this. And you're just going to, you don't want it to fall apart, so you keep a finger on the bottom of it, and you just press, go around the outside edge, pressing firmly to the sides, and go all the way around. And just keep going until you have kind of pulled on all the different layers. And then I put it down on the table and I really press to make them all lean to the side. And I even come and pull down on the sides, making sure that you don't let it all unravel. And then that is how all of these, this is how all of these were shaped. It was shaped like that and then just glued onto the petals. But I'm going to show you how we go from that to this mounded piece. So I've got, this is the plastic quilling mold, and I take this center that I have shaped, and you just find which one is going to add the right amount. I think I probably go with, I think it says 12 millimeters. And you just set it on top of there, and it creates a cup. In the bottom. Now, was that? Yeah, because I think this one, or did I do this one? Let me see. Well, it must be the 10 millimeter. Because you don't want it to push up so far that it all falls apart, but you want to get a nice mound on the top. So once I have done that, then I add glue inside. And you want to be pretty careful with it because you don't want to lose that shape. So I just add glue in there and then use some sort of a craft stick to spread that glue around. And then you want to let that dry before you attach it. So I would just set that aside. I've got one here that is almost dry that I'll use to make this flower. Now we can shape the petals and the sepals. Hello from New Jersey. Hi, good morning. Glad to see you. I'm just showing how to shape the daisy with the petals going down with a mounded top. I do like to glue the, you can eyeball them and glue them, or you can put them on the little flower tool so that you know they're going to be perfectly centered. Just add a little glue and add the layer, and I just position it so that you see some of them showing between the other layer. And I will also glue my petals together. You don't have to use this. I oftentimes don't, because it's just two petals that are very easy to see. You just want to get them in between. And now I will use a ball tool and just add some shape to this. It doesn't need a lot. It's underneath. You don't even see it much at all when you shape the flowers like this. You see it more so when the daisy is shaped like this. So we'll do that. And for these petals, you're pretty much just going to use a stick. And we want them to come down. So just kind of ribbon curling them downward. I do all of one layer and then I do the next layer. And then I'll really pull them down. Okay, and you can play around with it. You can do different, I mean, I kind of like a more subtle downward droop, but you can also just grab the whole thing in your hand like that if you want really droopy petals. Okay, And then I think I'm going to glue. Now I put it upside down to glue the sepals on. And using, creating this kind of a top for the daisy is one of the few times that I actually use a glue gun. I don't usually use a glue gun. I tend to design my flowers in a way that they're able to just be glued together on this form, because I like small flowers, and I think that glue oftentimes adds a lot of bulk to flowers, but this creates the perfect cavity for the bulk of the hot glue. So now I'm going to glue the stem on. And to do that, I will take the round nose pliers, make a little loop on the end, and bend it over. And then what I'm going to do is put hot glue inside the empty cavity and put this in there, and then I'll run it through the middle of my flower. Grab the glue gun here, and I'll just add some right in the middle and put the stem in there. And now we have a stemmed center. And what I like to do is when you put this inside the mold, it creates a little ridge on the edge that doesn't get pushed up. And so what I do is put, see, I've got some hot glue there that's going to get in the way. Put a little bit of white glue on that rim, and that will hold it tightly up against the flower petals. So then I just pull it up like that and press to make sure that it makes some contact there. And then after this glues, everything is dry, I will come back with tweezers. I'll show you on another one, because I'm picky and I don't like to see that rim. So I try to hide that by, I just come in and take my tweezers on that very bottom edge and just fold them down. If those things don't bother you, then you don't have to do that. But I really do like to try to hide the construction of the flowers. So that is how let me get you back in place, how I add the mounded center to the tops of my daisies. I really like making them both ways. It's a pretty simple flower. Right now, somebody's asking if I have a schedule for when I'm doing live classes. What I'm trying to do now is just go live every morning at 9 a.m. except for Sundays. And I will be setting up some actual classes. So I'll be doing a lot more of this. And let me know if there's something in particular that you want to see me make. I will be doing a lot more live demonstrations and putting together some classes. So I am shooting for every morning at 9 except for Sundays. And then I will go from there and figure out what works best and what times maybe work best for people. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.